We're on our enemy's land. Why? Because God put us into the hand of our enemy because we broke God's commandments. Us breaking the commandments, verse 47, is the point of why God got upset at us enough to do this to us. To pack us like sardines on slave ships and send us to the hand of our enemies who hate us enough to whip us on our back and hang us from trees. You got to stop. That's what he was saying. There's an urgency. We must not delay to keep these commandments or we are going to die. Because if you notice, right, verse 1 is, hold on, brother, wait. Because look, we want to tell you this too. Back up for a second. Look, notice this. When we see this sign right here, what is this called? What is this called right here? What is this? Huh? That's a man who is afflicted, being whipped on his back. What is this right here? This is a slave ship, is it not? These are what? These are Europeans doing what to this woman and their child? You got children? How many children you got? You got children. Okay, one of them gonna be sold to one state and the other one gonna be sold to another state. You got children. Y'all look related, perhaps. Guess what? These were put on our heads, on our yokes of iron on our neck. We got what? A cage on this man's face. What we're reading about is written in the Bible. 32.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 32.
We read 1 because what? Listen, sis, listen. This is about your heritage, your history. You got to know this.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
In slavery, you had another race of people come and take your children from you and sell them to their own people somewhere else. That's right. That happened to us. This is a prophecy in the Bible about what would happen to who? The Israelites.
Right.
You're an Israelite. That's how we know. Read it again.
That's right. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Sis, your sons and your daughters were given to another people in slavery. We're reading the Old Testament. How do we know that it's true? Because it happened.
Right.
How do we know that it's true? Brother right here. How do we know that this is true? The sister and the brother don't know about their heritage yet. Listen, I know y'all got something to talk about, but you need to hear this word of the Lord. Right, 48.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shall thou serve thine enemies.
Did our people have to serve their enemies? To be in servitude to their enemies in their enemies' land? We did. What? When did it win? During slavery. Now, why did we go into slavery? That's the point. That's the question you got to ask yourself. You know that this Bible is talking about us. We're reading about God's chosen, but they were being punished. Why? On verse 1 through 14, it said you would be blessed, not cursed. You would be blessed if you keep the commandments. Right. If you break them, in verse 15 through 68, if you broke the commandments, then you would be cursed with these various curses of slavery. What does that mean we have to be doing now? How do we fix it? We're supposed to be keeping.
But we also under grace and mercy.
Yes, that's true. We do have grace. So grace is what? Hold on. 47, then Titus 2 and 11. Grace is what, sis?
It's like you did something wrong, but you're going to be forgiven anyway.
Not infinitely. Not continuously. I'm going to show you that. But go ahead and get Titus. I'm going to show you that, sis. Because this is important. Because do you have an infinite bank account? Is your bank account infinite? No. So you work, but there is a bottom. And if you go underneath that bottom, you're in trouble, right? That is the same way that grace is. Read.
Titus chapter 2 and verse 11.
And we don't know, just like a parent, how much mercy we have. There is a deadline. Read.
For the grace of God that bringeth salvation.
So we do have grace, you're right. But
have appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world.
Romans 6 and 2. The point of grace is so that we what? Learn to deny ungodliness.
Right.
So that we can keep the commandments. Not so we can continue breaking them.
Right.
You got that?
Because God will turn actually your continue to do the same thing over and over again.
Correct.
Knowing that you're doing wrong.
Correct. Wisdom will forsake you at a certain point. But just to hammer down the point, and then we're going to go back to your heritage. You have to know you're an Israelite. Read.
Romans chapter 6 and verse 1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin, that grace may abound?
Should we break the commandments because we have grace?
No.
God forbid.
No. Deuteronomy 28. That's the answer, sis. So a lot of times our people throw out the grace as an excuse, right? Not saying you were, but guess what? Us breaking the commandments, verse 47, is the point of why God got upset at us enough to do this to us. To pack us like sardines on slave ships and send us to the hand of our enemies who hate us enough to whip us on our back and hang us from trees.
Right.
Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart.
God gave us commandments for every week, every month to keep. And because we did not keep them happily, because we were not happy to do it, we're going to show you some commandments. We're going to find out if you're happy to serve the Lord or not. What did God do to us because we were not happy to serve him?
For the abundance of all things.
For the blessings in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1 through 14, of being above all nations, of being rich beyond all nations, of being control of all nations, and them paying taxes to us instead of us to them in a country they stole us in. Read.
Therefore,
because we don't serve God happily,
shall thy serve thine enemy.
God sent our enemies against us,
right,
to put us into captivity, that we would be in servitude, slavery, in bonds to them. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
God sent our enemies against us. Read.
In hunger and in thirst and in nakedness.
Such that we would not have any control over our food, clothing, water, or our shelter. Even if we buy it, we got to pay property taxes on it continuously forever. Even if it's paid off. We're on our enemy's land. Why? Because God put us into the hand of our enemy because we broke God's commandments. Right. So what is God's commandment, sis? What is today? What is today? What do you mean? Exactly. Our people don't even know what today is.
No.
And
okay,
today
is Saturday.
Yes.
Which really, Saturday is our rest day.
There you go. You should remember. Look.
Sunday
right.
is Saturday.
The sister remembered. Let's read it real quick.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
God has a day that is proclaimed to be a particular significance. This particular day is what? The Lord's Sabbath. Why? 6 days you rest out of a 7-day week, and then that last one, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, is what? God's Sabbath, the rest day. And what? Notice it said remember in the beginning of that. Remember why? Because we have been disconnected from our heritage, like he was bringing out. We have been disconnected and taken away from our actual history and our own customs and our own culture. We are not attached to remembering this. So when you ask somebody, what's today? What you mean? Because we don't remember what the Sabbath day is. That's in the 10 Commandments.
Right.
What else is something that's in the Commandments, sister? I noticed you wearing, right, leggings or joggers or whatever they might call them. I'm going to show you something, a commandment, a law about that.
I know we're really not supposed to wear pants. We are supposed to wear dresses. We are not supposed to cut our hair. We're not supposed, because it's the glory of God. It shows the glory of God.
To shave it off, right? You can trim it. You can trim it, but
we're not supposed
to shave it off, right? So these are some commandments you're bringing out, sis. So you sound like you familiar spiritually with some of the things that the Bible is talking about. Maybe not others. Read this.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5.
I know I need you to acknowledge, you've acknowledged it. I need you to stop though. And I'm going to show you why. Read.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
What pertains to men is the clothing articles in Exodus 28 that was given that were what? 2-legged breeches. Read.
Which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
But a man is not supposed to be wearing what? Dress or skirt. Read.
For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
God, you want God to hate you? No. So you're going to do what? according to this law?
But I'm going to do what he tells me to do.
Which is,
I need to.
you need to put on a dress. Now you can wear leggings underneath the dress, because that's what they for. They're long, they're stockings.
Yes.
So sisters nowadays, they wear thick stockings, and they walking around in stockings with their shirt up above their behind in stockings. And they say, this is my outfit. And then they put socks and shoes on.
See, my mom, she taught me that. She was old school.
Old school.
My mother, she did not wear pants. She wore dresses all
Right.
the time. And another thing, the man is the head of the house of everything.
Yep.
But the woman have order of the house as far as taking care of everything that the man needs.
That's correct. So, I'm going to show you something else about today. Something that's going to help you out. I don't know what you got to do today. You can be honest with me. I'm your brother.
I'm gonna go to my sister's house.
You can go to sister house. Y'all going, well, resting is a part of the Sabbath, right? But what else is a part of the Sabbath? Verse 1.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1.
Because we're going to keep the Sabbath too, but we're going to apply what the rest of the Sabbath say you got to do on it. Read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel.
That's us, the people that the curses are on, the only people that the curses are on, giving you clues as to who the children of Israel are today. It's not everybody. God's people is not everybody.
Right.
God does not love everybody. You knew that?
Yes, I did.
All right, read.
And say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation.
Holy what?
Holy convocations.
Convocation. The Sabbath is a convocational day, meaning that we are to congregate and fellowship together. You knew about the Sabbath. You know about certain of these laws. You need to learn more of these laws, sister. But how are you going to do that? We have congregations. We are IUIC Greenville. We have a school, right? We're going to go congregate after this. We leave here. So guess what? There are sisters there, our wives there. We have opportunity and availability for you. It's free. We don't charge, right? We come together, we keep the commandments, we learn, we get taught, we get fed, right, spiritually. And guess what? Now, if you come, you can keep this part of it. Fellowshipping with who? Because your sister, right? Your sister, she going to be cooking? Y'all going to cook something?
Yes, sir.
So you going to cook something, right? On the Sabbath, are we allowed to cook? You're supposed to be, you're not supposed to cook on the Sabbath, right? So, and there's a spiritual meaning and reason behind that, having to do with our kingdom, our glorious kingdom, right? But we're going to read you the law. How do we know that we're not supposed to cook food or heat food up on the Sabbath?
Exodus chapter 16 and verse 23. And he said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest the holy Sabbath unto the Lord.
Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord, meaning that today is Friday daytime. But sundown will be what? A new day. Evening and the morning, that's the separation of the day. Guess what? He knew that what? When the sun goes down, it's tomorrow, it's the Sabbath is going to start. And what does he know about that particular day?
Bake that which ye will bake today,
Cook what you're going to cook before the Sabbath starts.
and seethe that ye will seethe.
Seethe, S-E-E-T-E-T-H-E, right? S-E-E-T-H-E, seethe means to what? Boil. So cook, bake, boil, heat what you're gonna, microwaves didn't exist yet. Microwaves is heating too. A convection oven, or what you put the little air fryer, that's heating. You cannot heat up food on the Sabbath. He knew, I'm gonna have to make sure that I do all of that before the Sabbath starts. Today's the Sabbath. When the Sabbath's over, light up your stove. Read.
And that which remaineth lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Keep the food. You don't have to make it cold, but keep it that you cooked before the Sabbath started. Don't heat it up anymore. Eat that during the Sabbath.
Right.
people make excuses for all these kind of laws, right?
What club was that at?
Admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
With the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again, 31.
Get it. The Isaiah, we got to show you the prophecy. Guess what? There's a sense of urgency you're going to have understanding that these commandments are not to be played around with. God is not going to have mercy on them who completely and utterly refuse to keep his commandments. And his commandments are very specific things. The things that we've shown you, sis, yes, there will be some mercy, right? But that's for those who are repenting, trying their hardest to get their spirit right and not violate his commandments. That's who's going to get the mercy. Those of you who are still not keeping the dietary law, not wearing the dress code laws and so forth, breaking and violating those things, Christ is going to be angry with those people. This is what you got to understand. There's a fear associated with this. Read.
Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 16. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh.
By fire and the sword. Christ is coming back with flaming chariots and a sword.
Right.
To do what? To what the bottom of it say? And the slain.
And the slain of the Lord shall be many.
And the saved of the Lord gonna be many, yeah, too. But what? And the what?
And the slain of the Lord shall be many.
Those killed by Christ for breaking his commandments, the bodies are gonna be innumerable. You're not even able to count. Millions, billions of people piled up, stinking, rotten. Why? Because they did what? They violated simple things like what we're about to read, 17.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst.
Doing what?
Eating swine's flesh.
Eating what?
Swine's flesh.
Which is pork. Those are going to be people who are consumed by the fire and the sword of the Lord to die, not to go to heaven. Read.
And the abomination.
And anything else abominable, like catfish, like any of the skin fish, or any of the crustaceans, which are bugs, roaches. You don't see a roach in your house and say, let me throw that in a pot and boil it.
Right.
But you do it because they say, oh, this is a crawfish, this is a crawdad, this is different, this is a shrimp. It's a bug. It's an underwater bug. They say it's a delicacy. I'm going to pay $50 for some snow crab. It's a giant roach.
Right.
Read.
And the mouse.
And the mouse, any of those rodential creatures, any of those mouse-like creatures, including rabbits, read,
shall be consumed together, saith the Lord.
The people that are eating those things, they're going to be consuming those things, and the fire is going to consume them. You want that to be you, sis? You got to stop. That's what he was saying. There's an urgency. We must not delay to keep these commandments, or we are going to die.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is